Water ethicists maintain that a partnership ethic where nature is our primary partner is required. With this relationship, notions of the greatest good to the greatest number extend membership outward beyond our species. As Carolyn Merchant has famously argued, sooner or later, fish have to be at and not just on the table. An ethically based water policy must begin with the premise that all people and all living things have equal rights to enough water to assure their survival before some get more than enough. The second principle is that we must protect our forests. We have known for thousands of years that deforestation of the upper regions of watersheds can result in increases in mean temperature and diminishment of precipitation that over time in themselves create climate change. Previous civilizations have learned this at huge cost. We know that in semi-arid regions, deforestation diminishes water supply downstream, which can accelerate desertification. We also know that the protection of intact upland ecosystems has been shown right here in the mountain west of Canada to slow and moderate the effects of climate change. We have observed for generations that forests actually create rain. We now know how. Forests create their own rain by seeding clouds with bacteria that float up from the trees and serve as nucleators for the formation of ice crystals that initiate the first step in the formation of rain clouds. And typically, water vapors high in the atmosphere bind together to form such crystals only at temperatures well below freezing. The bacteria from trees, however, allows such crystallization to occur at warmer temperatures by virtue of the fact that they contain a kind of scaffolding in their structure of the proteins that allows water vapor in the air to coalesce and bind together around the bacteria itself to form raindrops. This happens less or ceases to happen when you cut the forest down. And what happens then is that rainfall declines. As I mentioned, various kinds of ecosystems generate, capture, purify, and release water at different rates. Forests modulate the hydrological cycle by absorbing heavy rains, enhancing the seepage of water into the ground, which is held firmly in place by tree roots, and by reducing surface runoff. In combination, these effects even out the release and availability of water throughout the year. Water also plays a fundamental role in maintaining ecosystem resilience. When human activities reduce ecological function through land use impacts, water's actual and potential role in the self-organizing processes of living systems is diminished. If this role is reduced below certain thresholds, affected systems can no longer act as buffers to disturbance. We now know that supplying water to nature is crucial in preventing ecosystems from passing from one state to another, such as forests turning into grasslands or prairies becoming deserts. The careful capture of as much water as possible in upstream areas by rainwater harvesting and through ecological capture has been proven to assist in maintaining resilience that prevents or moderates the possible effects of both flooding and drought, while at the same time generating greater flow volume downstream. And we now know from research conducted by Dr. John Pomeroy and others at the Kananaskis Research Center in the Rockies that intact forests will protect surface water resources through mean annual temperature increases of up to 4 degrees Celsius. Protect intact ecosystems, and you can moderate and even slow climate change impacts. In other words, providing water for productive natural ecosystem function in the end ensures that there's more water available generally, and therefore more water reliably available for human purposes. In other words, water can be worth a lot more than wood. It has already been well established that the careful management of water's role in ecosystem function is a form of insurance against threats to the stability of the life systems upon which humans depend for their livelihoods and prosperity. But to be of any use, we have to buy that insurance. We buy that insurance by protecting upland watersheds. Finally, the third principle: we cannot succeed without political will and leadership. The global water crisis is not primarily a crisis of supply. It is a crisis of governance. The real problem we face, as Sandra Postel has argued, is that we lack a set of principles, laws, policies, and guidelines that stop us from chipping away at natural systems until there's nothing left of their life-sustaining functions, which the marketplace fails to value adequately, if they're valued at all. We have to fix that. The Water Act modernization process in British Columbia is a step toward doing that. We have to fight for that. It will take the highest order of statesmanship by leaders at all levels and in all cultures in our society to create the broad-based, nonpartisan political support required to bring a new water ethic into being. In order to prepare ourselves for the future, we should begin cultivating that leadership now. Thank you.